Everyone talks about digital transformation as this massive, multi-year overhaul, often involving enormous budgets and significant operational disruption. But what if the central problem isn't the core system itself, but rather the inability to extend its capabilities out to the operational edge, where the real work actually gets done? Welcome to Neptune Talks, the podcast where we share concise, actionable insights on SAP execution and innovation. In this episode, we're diving into the unique challenges of digital modernization within the defense sector and exploring why the conversation needs to shift from a rip and replace mentality to a smarter, more agile approach.
Yeah, that really gets to the heart of the issue, doesn't it? There's a significant gap between the need for agility and responsiveness at the operational edge and the reality of large, highly complex legacy systems which are centralized and often slow to adapt.
That's exactly the challenge. As a result, personnel out in the field on a military base or working in a depot are often forced to rely on paper forms, spreadsheets, and disconnected digital systems. That creates a huge amount of manual work. And perhaps more importantly, the data they collect is often out of date by the time it reaches the central system.
Absolutely. Organizations often try to solve this by building focused digital tools for specific problems, and they can work really well for a small group. But they quickly become isolated pockets of excellence because they're not built on a standardized platform that can scale across the wider organization.
Pockets of excellence. That's a great way of putting it.
Exactly. They solve one problem for one team, but they don't connect back to the core system of record, such as SAP. The result is that you've created another data silo rather than solving the underlying problem.
Given those challenges, it sounds like the obvious solution would be to replace the legacy systems altogether.
That's the common assumption, but often it's the wrong one, especially in defense. Core systems like SAP are incredibly robust, secure, and trusted. They provide the single source of truth for critical operations like finance, logistics, and HR. Throwing away decades of investment and proven capability simply doesn't make sense.
So it's really about preserving the core.
Exactly. The challenge isn't replacing the core system. It's figuring out how to intelligently extend its capabilities and get that power and real-time data out to the operational edge in a simple and intuitive way.
Extend, not replace. So what does that actually look like?
In practice, it means building a SAP native digital layer. Think of it as a flexible application platform that sits on top of your existing SAP environment and helps simplify complexity.
So this isn't another standalone system with complicated integrations.
Not at all. Because it's SAP native, it uses the same business logic and accesses the same real-time data while presenting it through modern applications that can run on mobile devices, tablets, scanners, or ruggedized laptops.
So it's really acting as a bridge between a complex backend and the people doing the work.
That's exactly it. And one of the most important requirements for that bridge in a defense context is that it has to support offline first operation.
Offline first comes up a lot. Why is that so important?
Because you can never assume reliable connectivity. Personnel might be working in remote areas, secure facilities, or contested environments where communication is disrupted. The tools they rely on need to continue functioning regardless of network availability.
Right. The mission can't depend on whether there's a network connection.
Exactly. In an offline first model, the necessary data and application logic are available on the device itself and securely synchronized with SAP once connectivity returns. In defense, that's not simply a convenience feature, it's an operational requirement.
Are there examples of this approach working in practice?
Absolutely. Take the New Zealand Defence Force. They had a manual, paper-based process for counting critical assets that could take months to complete.
Months? Whoa, that's a long time.
It really was. But by building simple, offline, capable mobile tools on top of their SAP environment, they reduced that process from months to seconds.
That's a huge operational improvement.
It is. And another example comes from the Norwegian Armed Forces. They had an SAP goods receipt process involving 11 complex desktop steps.
11 steps? Sounds painful.
It created a significant training burden and increased the likelihood of user errors. By simplifying that workflow into a three-step handheld process, they reduced processing time by 80%.
So once again, you're not changing SAP itself, you're making it easier for the user.
Exactly. You preserve the governed core while delivering the modern experience people expect. And that same foundation is what makes technologies like AI much more practical.
We hear about AI in defense all the time, but adoption often seems slow.
That's because AI depends on trusted, real time data. If information is spread across spreadsheets and disconnected systems, the outputs won't be reliable.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly. And trust is a huge factor. People won't rely on AI if they don't understand where recommendations are coming from. That's why augmentation, not autonomy, is such an important concept.
What does that mean in practice?
Rather than building fully autonomous systems that make decisions independently, AI is embedded into existing workflows to support people in making better and faster decisions.
Can you give an example?
Sure, AI could analyze SAP data to identify an emerging maintenance issue and present that recommendation directly to a technician through their mobile application. The human remains in control, but they're supported by trusted insights.
So AI becomes a co-pilot rather than an autopilot.
Exactly. It builds trust and keeps decision-making connected to governed enterprise data.
This really changes the conversation around modernization.
It does.
But speaking of trust, what about security? Defense organizations operate under strict security requirements. Does adding a digital layer create new risks?
Defense organizations operate under strict security and governance requirements. So any new technology has to fit within those existing frameworks rather than creating additional complexity.
So how does that work?
The key is that because the platform is SAP native, it aligns with existing SAP authorization models, governance frameworks, and security controls. Rather than introducing an entirely separate environment to manage, it extends trusted business processes and data to operational users through modern applications while maintaining alignment with the underlying SAP landscape.
So the goal isn't to reinvent security. It's to make trusted enterprise data and processes available where people actually need them.
Exactly. That balance between usability, governance, and operational effectiveness is especially important in defense environments.
So ultimately, this isn't really about deploying more technology.
Exactly. It's about creating a digital operating model that allows defense organizations to execute faster, make better decisions, and adapt more quickly while preserving the trusted systems they already rely on. The key takeaway is this: modernization isn't about replacing your stable SAP core. It's about building a SAP native digital layer on top of it to enable fast, offline, capable execution at the operational edge.
Thanks for that. And thanks to the viewers for listening. If you want more short insights like this on SAP, follow Neptune Talks. And if you'd like to explore these topics further, visit neptune-software.com.